Well, hello everybody. This is yet another on film, on video. We've been doing this for, 10 months now, and it seems to be working out, and we'll keep doing it as long as it feels like there's some benefit to doing it. One of the reasons I do it is because we are, even though theoretically, using digital technology, we would be unlimited as to space. We are still limited in the amount of time, and because we do a physical newspaper too, we are sort of limited as to the space we can spend. And just gives us a chance to do something a little bit different, a little bit extra to supplement our newspaper coverage. And our newspaper coverage is what it is, and I'm pretty proud of it. I mean, this is, like I said, we've had 10 months of challenging times with the movies. People are going to movies, I guess. I mean, there are movies that are opening in the theaters every week now, but not so many as would be normally. The interesting thing is that the Academy Awards have been pushed back to April 25th. And they're allowing any movie that comes out, I think, sometime in February, up until to be considered as for the 2021 Oscars, which traditionally, go back to the last calendar year. So it would be anything that's released up until February is a 2020 film for the purposes of awards and stuff like that. My critics group has adjusted to that, and they've given us a date of February 14th. To vote. I mean, that's when we're going to vote, is February 14th. So even though I have written in a year-end piece and I wrote about the top 10, 20, actually more like 64 movies I mentioned in that piece, that still means that there's stuff that's still coming out that we're going to have to, somehow to consider it being part of this year. How much does that matter to you? I don't know, because I don't really think about it as, it's just an arbitrary time that we cut things off, and I'm not really all that married to, the list I make. I just make lists, and the list can change, and they do change. But I want to point out that, like opening Friday in theaters here in Little Rock is White Tiger, which I don't think opened anywhere last year. And I just saw this. This is a really good movie. It's by Ramin Barani, who did a couple of my favorite films of the mid 2000s. Man Push Cart from 2005 and Goodbye Solo 2008 are two of my favorite films of that decade. And since then, he's done some interesting things. You may know more about the movies he's made since then, which are generally we're working in this sort of American realistic kind of vein. 99 Homes is one I recall. There was one before that with Dennis Quaid, and they were race car driver family, but I don't really remember the name of that. But he's got a certain intellectual grounding, but he's an accessible filmmaker who works with ideas, and he's just on the verge of breaking out as kind of a big star filmmaker, I think. And I think this movie might be the one that puts him over, because this is really great. It's a story of a poor man in India and how he becomes an entrepreneur. And it's based on the Booker Prize-winning novel White Tiger. Some of you may be familiar with that. I wasn't. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I hadn't read it until I saw the film. And I don't know that having seen the film would hurt your enjoyment of the novel or vice versa. But I just really liked it. Piers Marchant has a review of it in today's newspaper, unless he screwed up. Always a chance. So you can read about it there. I touch on it really briefly in my new movies column, just to say what I just said. It's terrific. But it makes me wonder. It's sort of like every day in the mail, And in my email, I'm getting links to movies. And so I guess 220 is still with us. 2020 is 220. 2020 is still with us as far as new releases go. So we haven't put that to bed yet. That said, we're starting our friends of the section, I guess is the best way to describe it. The top 10s from people who don't necessarily contribute often to the section, or don't contribute at all because of contractual problems, or because we don't have the money to pay them. I would invite a lot more of you to work for us if we could pay you, but we can't. So we're going to be starting to run those. I know I've got Keith Garlington's this week. I don't know who else is in there. Karen Martin, my wife and founding editor of Movie Style, who is busy working away downstairs on something I wrote. She probably won't file a top 10 with me until February, because that's when she votes and all her stuff. I mean, she's got a couple things, and there's no need. And I've already made a top 10, but I'll have to make another one, for my for my voting purposes. And like I said, this is probably going to sneak its way on there. It really is. It's very good film, and very different. It's shot in set in India, and even though he's a Pakistani American, I believe, most of his work has been set here in the United States, if not all of it. I think, with the exception of OnFilm Paper Bag, which is more of an experimental thing, I think they've all been set here. And I could be wrong about all this, so I don't have Wikipedia in front of me. I'm not going to look it up, because why? Other things. Okay, the other movies are opening this week. If you don't know the story, MLK FBI, MLK/FBI is a movie that you need to see, because you need to know about the campaign that J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI waged against Martin Luther King in the actually beginning in 1963, I think. But they were surveilling him before that. So I think I say that in I think I say from the 50s. And, but officially they started, surveilling and wiretapping him in 63. You may know the story of Ernest Withers, his photographer friend, who was a FBI agent, counterintelligence agent, counterparole, for 18 years, from 1946, on. And basically, what they did was after Withers got out of the army, they investigated him as a communist, and rather than make trouble, he agreed to work for them. I need to do a little bit more investigation into that particular story myself. I'm really interested in whether Ernest Withers ever actually provided the FBI with anything that was, to their mind, useful about King, but nevertheless, it's a fascinating documentary if you don't know the story. If you do know the story, you're going to sit there and go, but you will be impressed by some of the archival footage, and you may feel a little weird about some of the choices he makes tonally, but, Sam Pollard, I think, is going to be interviewed in our section, so Dan Leibarger's got that in hand. The other movie, the Liam Neeson movie, because there's always a Liam Neeson movie, isn't there? Well, just about feels like it. Feels like Liam Neeson provides us with quality entertainment every week, and I'm a big fan of his. Not necessarily a big fan of his movies, but a big fan of his. I have enjoyed him in just about everything I've ever seen him in, though that doesn't always mean... This one's called The Marksman, and he is the marksman, which I think is probably just... I've got to... Again, it's a time thing. I've got a screener of this film. I have not watched The Marksman yet, but I take it that Liam Neeson's a sniper, and he snipes at people, and he probably is a bad guy who turns into a good guy, or at least he's somebody who enlists your empathy. I will tell my Liam Neeson story here, probably not for the first time, But I was mistaken for Liam Neeson in the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, California. And I don't know, do you see it? I don't really see it. I don't. But he was, but there's a backstory. The reason I was at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, California, was to interview Liam Neeson. And so people knew Liam Neeson was around. And these people saw me and thought I was Liam Neeson. And I said, no, but I would like to meet him and we can go do our business together. And one thing I will say about Liam Neeson that is not true about every Hollywood star is he's legitimately as big as they say he is. He's my size. He's like 6'1", 190 pounds. He might be a little heavier than me. Maybe a little bit more gymmed up than I am at this point in my life. And we're about the same age. Like I said, I don't see it, but other people have commented on that, and I was mistaken for him once. I am probably the only person in the world that's ever been mistaken for both Liam Neeson and John Denver. Happened. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the opening of it, 1985. People followed us around. It was unnerving, but they thought I was John Denver. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm sorry. Send your celebrity look-like stories to the email address below, which isn't below. It's pmartin@adgnewsroom.com. Okay. If anybody sends me any celebrity look-alike stories, I might use them. Probably will not. Other things in the movie world is that I want to go really quickly through the DVDs again, because DVDs are just, it just seems like this came out just, what, a couple weeks ago, right? Right before Christmas, Fat Man? Maybe it was November we were talking about Fat Man, but it's either out or about to be out. And it's probably a really good business plan to make movies like this. I mean, I really think that... and Mel Gibson is actually... I mean, he's good in it. Walt Goggins is actually good in it. The film itself is pretty average. But, you know, there's something to be said for just, you know, vegging out and watching Mel Gibson be ridiculous and Walt Goggins be Walt Goggins. Another film I really kind of like that kind of got overlooked and is out now is Jungle Land, which, who did this? I don't remember who directed this. I'm looking on the back now to see if I can find it. It's obviously not a big deal director because they don't have his name up here real big. Oh, Max Winkler, who is related to Irwin Winkler. I think he's Irwin Winkler's son. But this is... Again, this is a better movie than it has any right to be, because it is your standard boxing movie. But Charlie and Jack, Charlie Human and Jack O'Connell, they actually really are good in this. It's really kind of a, you know, nice brother story. And it's a good boxing film. So it's out. Go see it. Or don't go see it, go rent it, or wherever you get your DVDs, if you still get DVDs, which some people obviously do. Now, this is a film I haven't seen forever, and it's about 10 years old, isn't it? Let's see how old. Yeah, I had it right. It's actually 2010. This is the story about Candy Darling, Beautiful Darling, the Warhol star who died very young. And I don't know if you're into this sort of thing, which, you know, kind of this New Yorkania, arcane Warhol factory, you know, sort of history, which I am. I love this stuff. So I'm happy to see this out. I don't think this has been out on DVD before. I haven't seen it anyway. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Okay. What's this? This has got to be foreign. Yes, English subtitles. I love that they don't give you any sort of clue about the country of origin on this. Her name is Maarit, Maarit. Yes, and it's a film by Simo Halloran. And it's from 2013. Now, you know, I mean, it's like things like this show up. I don't have time to actually find out much about them. So anyway, not complaining, not complaining. This is much better than running a tree saw for a living, and we just wanted to give you a quick hit, tell you what's in the section this week. The White Tiger. Oh, and I'm writing about Tiger Woods. White Tiger, Tiger Woods, Liam Neeson, and the MLK FBI movie. So all in all, that's not a bad slate for January. In a typical January, you know, yeah, you don't get much. And there's other stuff hanging around. And there's stuff on, you know, streaming. So all is not lost. The sun has come out. As you can see, the sun is bathing my nether regions. And I'm out of here for now. We'll see you next week. And we may have some more exciting news for you then. Okay, so take care.